Hi, and welcome back to The Running Master. I'm really excited this week to be able to share my first interview with The Running Master. It's with this guy. I've known Matt for a few years and we've run together quite a number of times. He's been running for many years and he's super passionate about his running, which I think you're going to see. I wanted to talk to him about his running background, his training and motivation, and how he's managed to keep going for such a long period of time. He's got some really interesting stories about setting up his local park run and some great tips for new runners. So keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Now, because of lockdown, we had to chat over the internet, and turns out Matt was thirsty. So let's meet him.
Can I have a sip of beer then? Is it halfway through?
You can certainly have a sip of beer.
I don't normally order. Cheers. Have you got one?
As I said, Matt has been running for a long time, so I wanted to find out how he got into it in the first place.
Joined an athletics club at 12, but it was really my science teacher. Would you believe it? Not any of my games teachers.
Right.
It's him who noticed that I was quicker than most of them at school, and told me to go and join Steve Harriers. So me and a couple of the other guys who are also fairly speedy, I suppose, we all went and joined the kids group there, and then I was more into it. They were into football, so I stayed. I left and took it from there, really.
So do you have a coach?
Self-coached, and I have been coached in the past, and I've taken advice. But it's the point of having a coach ultimately is to get you to the point where you don't need one really very much anymore, or you need less coaching, I think. So as you get older, you need less coaching. Sure. I still take guidance from various people, and one of the groups that I'm loosely part of these days, is the AB Alison Benton training group. Yeah. And she pings out some sessions on my email and Facebook on a weekly basis, and I tend to pick some of those to do, as well as the sessions that I know I need to do reach my goals. I train with a group where I can, but yeah, as I've got older, I know what I'm trying to achieve, I think, a little bit better. I know how to get there. Probably the journey's probably a little bit better mapped out, I suppose. Yeah. As the more I've got older, also I've learned to chill out a little bit with regards to training. So I used to do 3 hard sessions a week. That's still my mindset, but if one of those sessions turns out it's not very good, then I say I chill out about that, and it's still kind of turning my legs over, but maybe not as fast as I would like, but it doesn't bother me these days. Yeah. I just get it done.
You seem quite driven in terms of your training. Yeah. Not the sort of person that would look out the window and think, it's a bit wet out there, I don't think I'll bother, or it's a bit cold.
I'll get a better jacket. It's a bit cold, I'll put some more kit on.
I mean, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of people that would definitely look outside the window and think, I won't bother today. But what is it that what drives you to get out the front door in the first place?
Okay, partly it's habitual.
Sure.
I get up every day. It's something I do. I tend to plan my day in a certain way. So where will I get my run in today? And as of late, it's been in the morning, because I know other things get in the way as the day goes on, and my lifestyle now kind of fits training in the morning. So I'm pretty motivated to get out. There are days where it is a real pain. Sometimes I might have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to get the session done or the run done, but it's actually worth it in the end, and getting the race results as well also helps. I think it's looking forward to those goals. If those goals weren't there, it'd probably be a lot easier to stay in bed. Yeah.
What's your favourite distance to run?
See, that should probably just slip off the tongue, to be honest. But I quite like running over a lot of distances. So when you say run, I tend to think more race, because that's what I enjoy doing the most. So I love a 1500. It's a very challenging event. It generally takes 4 minutes, a bit longer these days, but not much outside 4 minutes. And you really do put yourself through it. But that said, yeah, I also like, a race over 5K. You clipping along, feeling quite relaxed. So race-wise, 1500 to 5K is my favoured distance. That said, I like cross-country. Something always quite challenging about running cross-country.
Yeah.
But then I'd also say I like, clipping along the country lanes or out on the downs at any distance up to about 10 miles.
Your 1500 PB is 3:58?
Yeah, 3:58. To be honest, I'm happy with the 3:58. And there's a 1:58 for 800, which is all part of the 1500 training, really.
Yeah.
I probably should have run quicker over 5,000, given that I ran a 3:58. But then, as I said, the training at that point in time was more geared towards the 1500, and the 5,000 was a bit more, I suppose, incidental.
Sure.
It's not. Unfortunately, I never specifically trained for it when I was in good shape. Got injured in kind of the back end of 2006, I think, and when I thought I might be moving up and doing some fast 5,000s, I was not doing very much at all.
Yeah. Just going back to racing, then, what was your favourite ever race? So you did your 3:58, you've done your 15:22.
Yeah.
Are either of those in your top races, or have you got a different one?
I've got a few. I mean, running 3:58 was brilliant. And actually, the way that came together, it was a god awful day. I was working in Brighton Marina, and it was lashing down with rain all day. The forecast was for it to just rain and rain. And my mate who was going up to Watford, phoned me up and said, "Shall we bother going?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on. We're in good shape. We'll go up. We'll get it done." And just as we're driving to Watford, you could see this little bit of light on the horizon. It was thrown it down with rain all the way around the M25, and we got there, and Watford was in brilliant sunshine. It had just stopped raining, and we warmed up, and I started the race, and it was 65 for the first lap and 2:09. I think we were at 800, which is too slow if you're going to run. You want to be running 64, 63 if you want to run 3:58, and I was running at pretty much 65 pace. Yeah. But I had no choice because I was boxed in. I couldn't get out, and it wasn't until 300 meters to go, albeit we did speed up over the penultimate lap, but with 300 meters to go, I managed to get out, and I probably kicked the fastest 300 meters of my life, dying down the last 50, but came in with 3:58.
Are you enjoying being a master?
More than I thought I would. I think if I go back 10 years, I looked at it and was like, I thought I'm going to compete as a senior as much as I can, because that's the level I'm at. And then now I'm not.
Yeah, that's the way. But the thing is, though, you're still running. What, a couple of years ago, you're still running 16 and a half 5Ks. That's
I pulled it together a little bit on the track in the last couple of years. Not last season, I just ran just outside 17 minutes. And I've kind of stuck there. But the couple of years before that, I was running 16:30, 16:40, which I think just came about from running. Well, it was running kind of pace runs, I suppose, tempo runs. Not a lot of hard top end sessions, but just being able to grind out that 5:20 pace in training just meant that I could maintain it in races.
Yeah, I mean, you're still finding success at at masters level, or you're finding success
Yeah,
at masters level.
yeah.
I think that because you run for Brighton and Hove now, don't you?
I run for Brighton and Hove now. Yeah, I think one of the highlights of the season just gone was finishing 10th in the Southern Masters at Oxford, and I was actually the third Brighton scorer that day in the winning team, so 3 to score that day. So just got one home for the team.
Matt isn't the only fast runner in his family. His brother Howard is also in the Masters category, but had a slightly different entry into the world of running.
I think he decided that he would enter the Brighton Marathon, and then off the back of that, started running a bit more. I think I may have suggested to him to come down the track, and I think he thought possibly we were too quick, but luckily he did come down, and he's running very well now that he's kind of been training properly, as it were, for 10 years, I suppose.
Yeah. Do you have much of a rivalry?
It's difficult, that one, because I think we'd like to.
Right.
But if we go back to 2011, 2012, our trajectories crossed, so that I was kind of on my way down, getting slower, a number of running years in my legs, and new family, etc. So
Yeah.
I was finding it tough, especially with a lack of sleep, to kind of maintain the amount of training I had, as with a young baby. Whilst Howard was on his way up, he recently started running. There was only one way to go. So, but in 2011, 2012, we kind of crossed over, and we did have some good battles, which was good fun. And I'd like more of that, but I kind of got to pull my socks up a little bit, I think, to get back to that kind of level.
To line up on the start line with your brothers must be a pretty
Yeah,
good thing.
I mean that happens quite a lot, and there's actually one particular race. It was a Southern Cross Country in 2012 at Stanmer Park in Brighton, and we took chunks out of each other for 9 miles around Stanmer Park, nip and tuck. He finished 98th in the end. I was 100th, but in terms of pure racing for, I don't know, 50 minutes, that was pretty good fun.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I wasn't there, I wasn't in the race, but even just you describing that, you can kind of get the sense of how much fun that was. Just, I think that's the runner in you as well, kind of feeling that competition, even just you just describing it. So
one runner
nice.
takes it up the hill, and then Howard would come back and fly on the downhills, and maybe he'd pull it out in the next uphill, and I'd get him again by the top. It was like that all race, nip and tuck.
I think my memory serves that you were instrumental in setting up one of the Brighton park runs. Is that right?
Yeah, I was part of the organising team that set up Brighton and Hove Park Run in Hove Park in 2007. I was injured at the time, so Richard Carter and John Docherty tapped me up, and Paul Sinton Hewitt, you might have heard of, came and met us in a pub in Brighton, and we talked about parkrun. We discussed venues. It turned out that Hove Park was probably the best one. We did discuss Stanmer Park and the seafront as well, and Preston Park, but we settled upon Hove Park as the best option, and I think we were the 5th parkrun in the UK at that point in time. And this coincided, I'd been injured and wasn't feeling that great about my running. So in 2007, it was a quite good project for me to get my teeth stuck into. And then, met a lot of good people through parkrun, and good to see it grow.
So finally, I asked Matt to give some tips for new runners.
Well, if you're just starting to run, make sure you've got a decent pair of trainers. Would be the first thing. The second thing I would say is, don't stress out about it. If you want to be good at running, you need to go running. So don't overdo it. I think if a new runner wants to run 3 times a week, 4 times a week, that's good, but they need to obviously look to their recovery. There's no point putting a second run on top of the first one when you haven't recovered, especially, you know, as a new runner. I think it's kind of being very mindful of what your body is doing, and listening to it. I think once somebody has got into the swing of running, then they can start making it a little bit more complex. I suppose complex might be the wrong word, but you can start layering on sessions and speed work once you've got a bit of a base. But I wouldn't really recommend going out and doing speed work, by which I mean things like interval training, so 8 400s off 2 minutes rest, for example, or 4 times a mile off 2 minutes. I probably wouldn't recommend those for a beginner runner either, but half of that session would probably suit them quite well. So it's build up slowly. Find some people to run with if you can. It might just be your family at the moment under current circumstances, but
Sure.
Once you're all clear, you know, find a group at your level to run with. Join a club if you really want to improve. I think that's the way forward for your new runner.
Matt, thanks ever so much for coming on. Thank you for
welcome.
talking to me and sharing your insight, your background, and everything to know about running.
No problem.
See you soon, mate.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Once again, thanks so much to Matt for sharing his background, running experience, and some great tips there for new runners. Thanks for watching. If there's anything you want me to cover or any aspects of running you want to know about, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and cover those as best I can for you. Bye for now.